So our first speaker for today, I'm very excited to be sharing with you her magic. So we have Anaiya Sophia, and Sophia is a keeper of an oral tradition. She carries a living transmission from the sacred feminine mysteries. She's a wellspring of wisdom and is mostly known for her ability to transmit the Mary mysteries and the feminine passion contained within the Christ path. This includes sacred inner marriage, sacred body awakening, the womb wisdom, the conjuring of the divine fire that illuminates both men and women, body, soul, and human divine. Anaiya breathes the wisdom of the feminine principles that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity. Without need for permission or recognition from any other source, she is a flame and refuses to be blown out. She recognizes the need for initiation and accepts her desire to facilitate it. Her methods carry the hallmark of a mystic, so unmistakable in today's sugar-coated world of partial truth and placating love. Her ferocious allegiance to direct experience and radical revelation imparts a wisdom that inflames you. Anaiya is no spiritual lightweight. She has spent the first half of her life soaking up the Christ teachings of the Sacred Heart of Mary mysteries of the Holy Womb. She now turns her attention to the gnosis, the absolute in your face, obliterating truth of the direct connection. Her realm of transformation lies within the internal conflicts and influences within us that resist reality, both internally and externally. Her quest beacons us towards the initiatory rites, powerful processes that consecrate our sacred marriage, revealing our divine remembrance in ways that can and must be lived. Her vision as a keeper of initiation, sacred sexual mysteries from the woman and man. Who am I? Sacred heart mysteries of Yeshua. Where did I come from? Holy body mysteries of Mary. Where am I going? Gnosis, mysteries of Sophia. Sacred body awakening, taking the war out of man. Alchemy of sacred inner marriage, the birthing of the divine human. Accessing the Gnosis, the intrinsic self-authority. Darkness initiation, a week-long vision quest in southern France. Fusing the whole Christ path, marrying the Christ body with the Christ soul. The sacred marriage is the narrow path of life lived dangerously close to the truth. Her books include Open Your Heart with Kundalini Yoga by HarperCollins, 2002, Pilgrimage of Love, Lulu in 2011, Womb Wisdom, Inner Traditions, 2011, Sacred Sexual Union, Inner Tradition, 2013, The Rose Night by Lulu in 2014, and Sacred Relationships, The Practice of Intimate Erotic Love by Inner Traditions in 2017. Anaiya lives in the Ochton regions of the southern France with her beloved Pete Wilson. Their homeland is a place that is shrouded by the myths and legends of Mary Magdalene, the Cathars, the Troubadours, and the Knights Templars. Together, the union with the land, they take people on their own Grail quests into the immersive interaction where the initiation by the feminine principle is almost always guaranteed. Her website and her email address will be commented below in the video, and it is anaiyassistant@gmail.com, Naniya, and www.anaiyasophia.com. And when you are ready to turn your video on and unmute yourself, you are ready to give us your beautiful presentation.
Hi, everybody.
It's an honor to meet you. Thank you so much. Whenever you're ready to share with us.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Well, I think the first thing I would like to share is that this temple work is very much coming back to us now. And it is safe, and it is authentic, and it simply cannot be held back any longer. This is, I believe, the next way that us humans can grow. We have had our time in the ashrams with our yogi masters. We've had our time in sacred circle with the gurus and the spiritual teachers, teaching us at that transcendent level. Now is the time that we come together again as a tribe and help one another, facilitate the open door for one another in our bodies. Not only do we have to heal all forms of separation and disgust and perhaps hatred of the body, we also have to awaken, I believe, the absolute potential that is embedded within the flesh of the body for each gender quality. Woman has a deep medicine in her body. Man also has a deep medicine in his body. The problem, or not even problem, what we have experienced is a misuse of that energy and probably an immature, juvenile way of accessing it, a little bit like running into a sweet shop, candy store, and eating as many sweets as possible and then coming outside and throwing up on the pavement. That is the kind of messy, tantric, I don't mean to absolutely not discredit Tantra, but that's the word we've been using in the West. So it's to highlight what I'm speaking of. So there may be hesitancy, there may be distrust, and there may be resistance to even being open to what I'm saying. But I'm hoping that you will step into the circle, the arena I'm speaking of, and receive your initiation, and to realize all of those fears were just that, fears. Fears and possibly ancestral memories of times when this work may not have been absolutely aligned with the verticality of your soul and of pure holiness. But, beloved friends, I believe this is where we have to go. I believe this is actually maybe the last opportunity we may have to actually make it as a healthy, holy human race. I believe the beloved, the great one, the she, the he, the God, whatever, placed this wisdom in our bodies. Very wise, very clever. It's the last place to look. And only when we're mature enough, maybe even desperate enough, definitely humble enough, will we say, aha, we forgot to look here. Maybe there's something in the body. I've been working in this way for a couple of years now, and all the ladies who've crossed my path, I'm pretty sure will be nodding their heads saying, yes, it's true. There is something very joyful, very natural, very intimate in that good way, in that natural way. The word comes up, goodness, and that it's radical. It's revolutionary. It's so easily remembered. It's not complicated. It's all we need is the sacred space and our own permission and a whole inferno of forgotten beingness arises. And it doesn't take long. It takes a few minutes before that lady says, oh my God, I always knew this was here. I knew this was in me. And then, so the phase one, woman initiating woman. You don't have to be a priestess or a goddess or have any fabulous credentials to remember this. It's simply part of being woman, I am sure. Phase one is woman initiating woman. Phase two, in come the men. In come the men, and we are to administer that same level of holy sensual integrity into the body of man. He too is starving. He hungers, he thirsts for this. And he may have thought sex was it, and that it doesn't actually get any better than that. But it does. He will be touched in places beyond sex. I even have the words, he will be touched in places beyond love, because this thing we've been calling love isn't really it. That's just, I think it's just affection, actually. Human fondness, human affection. What this facilitates is the ability for real divine energy to flow through us in a very formidable and wordlessly intimate way. And then phase three will be making this part of normal life. So kiddies, children, also get to know this energy early on, and it's not seen as something weird. It is simply the way to live, very similar to that movie Avatar. Those little kiddies being born into that blue tribe wouldn't have the problems we have around our bodies and sexuality. And, you know, those beautiful scenes of sitting around the big tree and all of us docking in, uniting with that tree and doing our swirly dance. There's nothing weird about that. There's nothing dodgy or edgy about that. And the same with the, you know, the tails. The avatar connecting its tail end with some kind of phoenix or eagle. I know this might sound bizarre, but what I'm talking about is the same frequency as that movie Avatar. And that is not me jumping on the bandwagon saying this work is the same vibration as Avatar, like I'm trying to sell something. This is me in deep, mature sobriety saying, you like that movie? There are practices out there that bring in the possibility of you feeling that for real in a graspable and livable way. And I feel my soul quest, if you like, is to keep delivering ways and places where people can gather. And as I said, just receive that sacred space and their own internal permission to open in that way and allow that energy to flow. This is what the world needs more than ever. And it has been cloaked in all sorts of strange energies. And I believe we have a genuine opening now for it to come in and settle in and stay in as an embedded expression of the new humanity. So, beloved ones listening, where would you go now after this little video call? Well, I guess there's going to be some sort of message how to connect to the website and everything. But in essence, where you can receive transmissions, so I've got some lovely transmissions, taking the war out of man and taking the whore out of woman. Whore, I don't mean whore as in sexually provocative woman, although it includes that, because I kind of feel at the far end of that, there may be an inauthenticity. If anyone has natural, abundant sexuality, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whoring, as in giving it away for free, cheapening, prostituting, in a way that is degrading yourself. If you are a natural tantrika, that is something different. That is an absolute blessing from God, from the goddess. I'm talking about those old paradigm ways of cheapening sex and missing the mark by a long shot. And when I say taking the war out of man, again, I'm not really referring to just man. I'm talking about masculine energy. And the war, I guess, would be over-aggressive, over-masculinized, too heady, caught in the head, fretting, worrying, computering, going out, having to make a name for yourself, just lost connection with the body, lost connection with this energy. That's the war, separation from the body. And of course, for us ladies in the West, we have become very masculine. You know, we are also extremely concerned with how much money do we make? Do we have enough for the kids' fees? Do we have enough for the cars? Do we have enough for the insurance? I know that place. And so we can easily lose connection with the gentle, graceful, fluid delight of being a woman. Nothing to prove, nothing to get. No schedule, no plan, just being that energy and it being freely available, so available that it's just radiating out of us as a delightful golden expression that is non-threatening to other women. It is exclusive. It is encouraging. You're wanting the other woman to be beautiful, not afraid of her beauty. That's the old patriarchal game. Divide and conquer. No, it's the complete opposite to that. So yes, on the website you will find transmissions. And this in itself is a little transmission. Hopefully these words are already touching something, awakening something, reminding you of something, saying yes to your memories, yes to your internal, I know what she's speaking of. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And to encourage you to find ways to come into connection with this energy. So that sort of brings me to a little bit of a full circle. I'm not sure what's supposed to happen next. Are there questions? I'm not really sure, but I know Our Lady, she knows what's next.
Aloha, lovely. At this stage, there doesn't appear to be any questions, but I kind of feel like I have a few questions for you. So
Yes.
my first question would be if you could share one of your greatest transmissions or tips that you could for first females and then men for embodying their divinity in a really practical way. So what would be like the one or two key things that you would recommend for us to focus our energy into doing right now?
I would say the first thing to look at is to realize perhaps that we're all on this path. Andrew Harvey calls it the sacred androgyne. I often refer to it as an inner marriage. Are we able to really contain and shapeshift into our own expression of feminine and masculine energy? Or are we a bit awkward around that? For instance, can you be gorgeously erotic, sensual, proud with your beauty, but not in a vain way, in a beautiful way? Can you show this part of you with great ease? This is the feminine part. Can you share this with other ladies? Can you share this with other men? These are all great personal insights. Yes, no, maybe. The next part. Are you able to be outspoken? Can you be direct and say, quit bullshitting around, let's talk truth? Can you be in an environment where suddenly everyone's getting a little bit confused, a little bit chaotic, a little bit lost, and you go, okay, everybody, pay attention, we're going here, now. Can you do, that's your masculine part. Can you do that with other men if there are other men present? Can you do that with other women? These are great and immediate reflections to see where you are in your inner marriage. I totally believe that if we do this work first, if we can say, yes, I am male, yes, I am female, and I'm bloody comfortable with both energies. When you can say that and really feel it in your body, the next stage, if that is what you're calling in, will be the attraction of another one, a physical one, coming into your life now to actually play the game. Phase 2. Phase 2 is, can you maintain that in the presence of another one? This is where Pete and I, he's upstairs at the moment, this is where we are right now. We had it really going on. We were living it beautifully as an individual. Now, hello, here comes the most perfect opportunity to now go to phase 2, maintaining that exquisite beauty and truth presence with someone else. So, and again, when you're in relationship, we might as well call this friction. When you're in a frictional field with another, you will again get immediate biofeedback. What your character, what your essence is up to, where you start taking on the old paradigm and the conditioning that we learn as males and females, where we start to withhold, where we start to draw back, where we start to lose that sense of that inner marriage, or where it comes out in an inauthentic way, in a fake way, in a way to manipulate and bend and tweak the other person. You're gonna just get 24/7 feedback with works in progress, things to work on, unfinished projects, unfinished business. But this is the great beauty of those relationships, because it's gonna make it real, or you're gonna quit and run. And this is what I mean by when we started the call at the beginning. The old way of having a spiritual teacher, a guru, a yogi, the ashram environment, the living in a cave environment, that was for then. I truly believe now the relational field is the cauldron, the holy grail, where this stuff either becomes real and we actually make it, we become a healthy, holy, gorgeous human being, or we quit and run, and the soul doesn't actually get to come into form. I don't know what's going to happen if that happens, because without that, us humans are going to just carry on doing what we do, making more industry, not caring a less for the animals and the natural environment. We're going to just implode. We are just going to consume ourselves. It's going to be just like no one or nothing natural left. We got to bring that soul essence, that luminescent, harmonious way of life into our real character and live it. So step one, can I lay my hands on my authentic feminine nature and my authentic masculine nature? Do I get my knickers in a twist if I'm hanging out with other women or hanging out with other men? When does the friction start? Okay, let me look at that. Let me look at that and let me breathe my way through that until I am totally authentic in the presence of woman, totally authentic in the presence of man. Yes. What else do you have for me?
Thank you. That was amazing. I was wondering if you potentially, we have a little bit of time still, if you had maybe a special meditation you might like to share with us, or a little bit of a journey, can take about 5-10 minutes, or if there was any other wisdom that you felt guided to share specifically, maybe about your own journey to where you're at now in your awakening, or around the specific synchronicities that you've had in your experience.
Okay, absolutely. Let's do it, beloved friends. I'm going to sit back so that you can see my whole body. And what I feel to share with you is what I try to do as often as possible. I call it the inner marriage ceremony. What you would need is 2 pieces of music that emotionally move you to connect with your deepest masculine and deepest feminine self. To make this a really good healing process, especially when we first do it, don't reach for joyful music, because we want to be authentic. And usually when we do this work for a few times at the beginning, well, actually it takes quite a while, but it's actually quite joyfully sorrowful. We have to be honest, we have to go there for real. So what I play Jeff Buckley, Alleluia, for my inner masculine, and I play Macalu, I can't remember the track, but it's a feminine piece that speaks of sorrow and loneliness and not being not being met. That's what I feel that the two archetypes are representing at the moment. So this is what it looks like. I'm just going to go back here. This should do it. Yeah, hopefully you can still hear me. All right, so we start like this. You're in a cross-legged position. Your hands are on your knees. The right-hand side of the body represents the male part of you. That is the same if you're a man, same as you're a woman. The left-hand part of you represents your feminine self. You could see these two hands as a queen on the left and a king on your left, on your right. Or you just see it as a boy and a girl or a man and a woman. This area here in the middle could be the palace floor. It could be the woodland. Basically, it's the space where the relationship is happening. So at the moment, you both have your own knee to hang out on. I believe the feminine part of us will always have to take this particular first step. So the feminine hand comes across very slowly, very present, very aware of energy, and she picks up the right hand and brings the right hand to the midline. From a yogic point of view, we would be looking to really relax this right shoulder and elbow and wrist. We want to give all of our male energy to the left hand and just trust that the female part of us can actually handle, hold, support the male part. Now, the male part is usually the part that goes out there, is very driven, gets the money in, keeps the mortgage going, keeps the cars going, pays the credit card fee, just keeps it all together, keeps the physical world and your safety and your food and all that you need, keeps it all together. And the feminine part, which is the love being, the essence, the emotional support, the emotional understanding, spiritual depth, that part is saying thank you. Thank you for doing all of that. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for bringing it in. And finally, you're going to spend a little bit of time listening to that male part and finding out how he really feels. And can he trust that the feminine part has the power and the stability and the loyalty to hold him up? After your song has finished, you put your right hand back on the throne with a lot of dignity and a lot of respect, and you make your way back to the left knee. And then when you feel ready, the right hand, which is the masculine, is now going to come and pick up the left hand, which is your feminine part, bring her to the midline and encourage the left shoulder to drop. Left elbow, left wrist. And now we're carrying the feminine part, which might be very delicate, like a little flower attempting to grow between two paving slabs. A little bit scared that it's going to get trampled on by some big shoe. Can you trust the masculine to hold you? Can you trust that he's not going to just drop you midway through the song and say, oh, sorry, I had something else to do? Because all of these inner conversations will be exactly the same ones that we have in relationship. Can we trust that a male presence loves us enough as just one woman to hang around and hold us for the duration of the song as we let go? Hold our disappointments. Hold the fact that we may not feel seen or met intimately, understood, emotionally connected with. And there's going to be loads of tears during this process, but the tears is the healings, the medicine. And again, at the end of that very beautiful feminine song, you put her back on the knee with respect and dignity. You return to your right knee, and technically, in that moment, you should be beginning to taste and glimpse a sense of this inner marriage. So it's going to be a bit emotional, but it's those kinds of emotions that are really, really nice. And it's like, oh, finally, a process that is really in the body. This is like real. I can get a real grasp of this inner marriage now. Now I'm understanding. And if you did that every day, just like, 5 minutes each hand, and allowed yourself to have that little cry that is probably long overdue and